You are the master of your classroom. You are the master of your subject area. But what does that actually mean? And what will it involve? Let's look at this business of being good at knowing your subject and throw that up against the needs of your students and what they can and cannot do. In other words, what you have to do is a juggling act. You have to balance the curriculum you know you're supposed to cover and the curriculum you are very familiar with, balance that with the pace that your students actually need, which may be very different from what the textbook publisher said you would be able to do. Your students may take you much faster or much slower through the curriculum, and you need to be able to adjust to that, adjust your teaching and adjust your planning to that. Now there's the teacher's knowledge of the subject. Okay, you're an expert at history. You're an expert at teaching reading at lower elementary level. Whatever it is that you've gained expertise in, okay, what does that mean? Well, you understand the pedagogical content of that subject. What has to be taught at that grade level in that subject. You understand that. You have a good grasp of that. And you have a good grasp of what are the theories and priorities of this field. For instance, let's say history. In history, history is a form of study all to itself. Teaching history, you might say, is a slightly different animal. So if you're going to be a historian and a teacher of history, you need to know the pedagogical content for the grade level you're teaching. How much do they really need to know of all the vast knowledge you have about that topic in history? How much do your students need to know at that level? But also, you need to be aware of the fact that, as a historian, you know that history as a topic itself has certain priorities, has certain theories about how to conduct research or how to present research. And your field, such as history, has particular issues going on today, currently. Certain controversies might be going on currently. And you keep that all in your head while you're teaching your students the curriculum that they're supposed to learn in this subject. Does that mean you do or you don't introduce them to the issues and controversies of historical research? That depends. That depends partly on your skill, your understanding, and the understanding level of your students. But maybe anything is fair game if you can reach your students at where they are. And you also have to realize, too, that while you're doing all these other juggling things in your head, you have to be teaching to diverse students who have different learning styles. And some of them learn better auditorially, and some more visually, and some more tactily, and some of them more kinesthetically. So you're good at your field. You understand reading, history, biology, whatever it is that you're good at. In a way, it only just complicates your job as a teacher, because now you know so much about the subject, about the controversies and issues of your subject, the theories of your subject, but you have to mix that with what your students can and cannot handle about the subject. It makes it exciting for you because there's a lot of dynamic things going on in your head. You just have to make sure it's balanced with what your students really need. So think about the areas where you are an expert or you're gaining expertise, and think about how do you teach all that, or what parts of it do you teach and what do you emphasize. That's the psychology of teaching in the content areas. And you might want to go interview some teachers, especially who teach in areas that you're interested in, and find out how do they handle all that's swimming around in their heads because they're so expert at the field and yet they have to balance it with their students' needs and preferences. So to go do some research and go do some outside reading and see what you can find out about this.